Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Physicist Buddhist in California. So today I'll talk about a great astrophysicist who just passed away. His name was Jayant Narlikar, a great Indian astrophysicist. He was pretty famous, at least in the astrophysics community. If you don't know about his name, so then this would be an opportunity to learn more about him. So Narlikar was well known for a theory that he worked on with Hoyle. So Hoyle was a British astrophysicist and Narlikar was Hoyle's student. He did his PhD under the guidance of Hoyle. So Fred Hoyle and Jayant Narlikar in 1964 presented a new theory of gravity, which was pretty much a major step after Einstein's general theory of relativity. So this theory was a radical departure from the previous theories of physics, in that in this theory they decided to have no field. So most modern theories of physics are based on the idea of local fields. So this theory, they didn't have any field, so it was based on something known as action at a distance. So and the very interesting thing about this is that this theory was not causal, in the sense that all the theories of physics are based on the idea of causality, that the past events affect the future. So what's happening today is going to affect events in the future. But this theory, in addition to that, also was retrocausal, in the sense that future events affect the past events. So they constructed a theory of universe based on this radical idea, and they basically came up with this theory. And apart from this fact that it had no fields and it was based on the idea of action at a distance and it was retrocausal, this theory also presented this idea that a theory of gravity should be based on the Mach principle. So what that Mach principle says is that the mass of a particle is not an intrinsic quantity, it is a function of all the other particles in the universe. So this was a really radical idea that the mass of a particle, see, in the physics, this is a basic idea that every particle has an intrinsic mass, and the theories that are built, they take that into account. But this theory said that the particle's mass depends on the position of all the other particles in the universe. So, and if that was not enough, because of this reason that the mass was a dynamical mass instead of intrinsic mass, it's a function of all the particles out there. So this theory was also scale invariant. So this theory then became what's known as conformal invariant theory. And later on, Narlikar was able to show that such a theory solves one of the most fundamental problem in physics, which is the problem of black holes. Now we know that inside a black hole there is a singularity. So singularity means that the mass density becomes infinity, because as the volume of the black hole, or the star that is basically is collapsing into a black hole, approaches zero, its mass density blows up. And so at the center of the black hole there is a singularity where all the laws of physics are supposed to break down. But using this theory, this Hoyle-Narlikar theory, Narlikar was able to show that the singularity at the center of the universe, the center of the black hole, can be avoided. So this theory, the scale invariant or invariant theory of gravity, with all these wonderful properties which I just listed, and I'll list them again. So this theory is scale invariant, it has no fields, it is based on the idea of action at a distance, it is non-causal in the sense that it includes retrocausality. It's based on the Machian principle, where the mass is a dynamical idea. It's based on the masses of all the positions of all the other particles in the universe. So Narlikar did a lot of work after presenting this theory. He became world famous because of this, and he few years later he returned to India and he worked at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research for several years, and then he started this inter-university center for astrophysics at Pune, which he was the director of, and until his retirement he was working at there. And in addition, Narlikar was a man of multiple talents. He also wrote science fiction and he wrote other literature. In fact, his autobiography won the Marathi Sahitya Akademi Award. So this was considered to be a very well written book, even from the literary point of view. So I remember when I was a child, I used to read Narlikar's science fiction stories, and so he had this amazing talent of expressing complex scientific ideas in an easy to understand language. So yeah, with his passing, India has lost a great scientist, one of the greatest scientists of 20th century that India has produced. So I would encourage you to learn more about his life, learn what he did in science and his non-scientific activities, his books that he wrote to popularize science, his science fiction stories. And so this is where I would end this lecture, and hope to see you soon in my next lecture. Okay, thank you.